A story so outlandish that it haunts my dreams since I've heard it. All right here on Gun Talk Hunt.
Hey, I'm KJ, dedicated lifelong hunter here. If you got an interest in all things hunting, you're in the right spot. Whether chasing quail across the plains of Oklahoma or in pursuit of elk in the backcountry of British Columbia, you'll always find me on the hunt.
All right, welcome all you Gun Talk hunters. This episode of Gun Talk Hunt is brought to you by EOTech, Range Ready, and Ruger Firearms. I'm gonna give you a little backstory because this is about a story that I heard that I can't really define if it's true, but given its location, I think it is true. Because everything seems possible. It's like Texas is the Disneyland of hunting. So I think if you can dream it, it's going to happen in Texas. And this is nightmare for me. I would say this is definitely a nightmare for any hunter. But I'm going to get into that here in a little bit. Backstory. So like we do, we're sitting there, whether you're in the woods, you're on the stand, you're wherever you want to be. Name it. You're in bed sitting there scrolling over the Instagrams and the social medias and all that stuff. And have you ever sat there and went, why am I watching this? That happened to me on this video, and I can't believe I was watching it. But even worse, I couldn't believe what I was hearing. And Paul does have a microphone. Our producer has a microphone, and he may chime in on this. So if you hear another voice that isn't me, that is not the voice of our Lord Jesus Christ. That is Paul. Okay. So I'm sitting there scrolling, and I come across this video, and it's a fella in a cowboy hat, and it's on the Rodeo Time podcast. I want to make sure I give them credit because this is not a story that I heard personally. This is not something that happened to me personally, but it's from those guys. And I'm trying to get those guys on the podcast. And if you know them, tell them to hit me up on Instagram. Tell them to just send a message to the Gun Talk Instagram because I've got to talk to these people about this story because, like, seriously, it haunts me to this day. But really, the whole, there's legalities and there's stuff behind the scenes that's working on a broader scale, but I kind of wanted to get into kind of poaching. What is poaching? What is it? And how does its role in hunting negatively affect the good guys like me and you? So I'm going to go through a couple poaching stories and stuff like that, and I'm going to get to the story. And I know you guys are like, oh, dang it, quit burying the lead, KJ. Quit doing it. It's the journalist in me that wants to kind of shove it to the side and just say, hey, I'm going to talk about this. You're going to have to hold on to find out. And so that's what I'm going to do. And all this gets to a story about me and poaching. And thank goodness, I think the good Lord intervened because it can take over who you are because I've seen it happen. So what poaching is, it's the illegal taking of game, whether it's higher bag limits, or you exceed the limits, whether you shoot something out of season, or if you're using a rifle during archery season, that's poaching. That's what we're talking about here. And that is one of the bigger black eyes because shooting 200-inch whitetail or 400-inch bull elk, like that doesn't always happen. And it always seems to go the way of you always see those size of animals when it's at the least opportune moment. Okay? All right. Here's one example. I'm sitting in a blind with a good buddy of mine, and we're sitting there, and it's youth season. We don't have any kids with us. We have our bows, and that is it. Now, we have guns in the truck, but they're 500 yards away from us, so they do us no good. It's really easy to sit here and go, you know what? What if that, what if I see a really good one and I'm on private property, so maybe no one will know? These are all things that go through the mind when you're like, you know what? I choose to do the right thing. And it's a choice to do the right thing. And it's inherent in what we do. We do what is right. We strive to do what is right. But every once in a while, that little devil creeps up on your shoulder and goes, dude, I know you saw a big one out here 2 weeks ago. There's a good chance that he may not walk within bow range. Well, just shoot further in the bow range. You can talk yourself out of this all the time. You can talk yourself into it. You've got to make the choice. But so that morning, youth season, we're sitting there and man, having a great time. We've seen some deer, but oh my gosh, did he step out? I look over. All I'm armed with is a bow. My buddy's got a bow, and we drew straws. He gets to shoot first. There is a legit, and I know, like, this is the biggest deer I've seen on the hoof. One of the biggest deer. I would say he's top 3. So he is, and this deer is a 100% open range deer. Like, this isn't a high fence. 180 inches, I'm going to say. And that's at that time in my life, that was the biggest deer that I have ever set eyes on, like in the wild. So, I mean, so I'm sitting there and I'm recording, like I have a camcorder. That's how old it is. It's a camcorder, not a cell phone that I just zoom in on. I have a camcorder and I am physically shaking. Like the whole blind has to be shaking. It feels like you're in San Francisco and what is it, 94 or what, 84 or 86 or whatever it was. Like, I could not believe my eyes were on this deer. And I was like, that's absolutely incredible. One of the most incredible, and I can still see him. If I close my eyes, I can see that deer. He was with that doe. And it was early season, which was odd. Usually they're, at that time of the year, they're all kind of running together. They're kind of all friends. This guy was friends to nobody except that doe. Like, that's all he cared. Like, but dadgummit, man. Like, if we had made a conscious decision to bring a gun into that blind with us, do you know how hard it would have been to pass that shot? And it was an easy shot. It was 150 yards is as close as he got to us. And we could only sit there and watch it and admire it, which was an amazing experience. But the temptation is there. The temptation is 100% real. And it's something that hunters have to go on. Now, we choose to do the right thing. So it's not really as big of a decision. We always have to, every time you go out, you have to choose to do the right thing. Well, that's integrity. It's choosing to do the right thing when no one is watching. And that's how we try to build ourselves. But my gosh, that was a big deer. Oh my gosh. I'm going to tell another story on the second half of this about myself that could have sent me down the wrong path. And then I will get to the story that does haunt my night. It's just a nightmare scenario. And really, I'm like actively checking my messages to see if Rodeo Time gives me a shout back, because I think there's a lot more to that story. So you see it daily. Every season you usually hear it, and we've got a great game warden who is probably the top whitetail game warden in the state of Iowa, Mr. Jeremy King, who we talk to every once in a while, and he tells us great stories on the lengths that people go to poach deer. Like, that's kind of the way they hunt. It's when people get, like, they don't want to do the public land thing because then they think it's too crowded. So they just start hunting other people's land in, the twilight hours and dark, and the lengths that they go to is really amazing. and this is a funny story. Like I was just cruising the interwebs, and I was like, I wonder what like some of the crazier stories are of like people poaching, and like one of the first ones that pops up is a guy who like camouflages. This is really funny. He camouflages a porta potty um to to not get caught. Like, so he thought he was being very sneaky, like putting a porta potty on someone's property. And 9 times out of 10, typically how poachers operate, is at least what I believe they do, is they will have like knowledge of a deer, or not. They have a intimate knowledge of the area. Maybe they grew up in that area. Um, but they've seen a deer that they're like, I've got to take that deer at all costs. And that's like trespassing and everything else. But anyway, this fella gets a porta potty and is like, man, I'm going to, like, I guess he's doing 2 jobs at once. Like he's doing a little poaching and a little bit of bathroom time. So anyway, he gets this porta potty, and of course, someone's going to notice a porta potty because poachers typically aren't the brightest. And so what they did is they would put that porta potty out there, and so the game wardens were like, "Well, we're just going to put a camera on it," and so they put a camera on it, and lo and behold, like of course he came back to hunt it, and they busted him on the John. It's it's I know it sounds crazy. It sounds too funny to make up. They go to great lengths. Now, there's people who get really elaborate. And there's a story about this, and this was one of the more elaborate things that I've ever heard. So it was like 3 or 4 guys, and what they would do was they were shooting deer along the highway. And so what they do is they sit there, and one guy has the spotlight. So this is back when they spotlighted or jacklighted deer. So he has in his vehicle the jacklight, nothing else. So nothing else. Like there is no gun in there, there's no ammunition in there. That's all he has. The other truck has the gun. And so they would travel together, but quite a bit apart. And so the guy in the far back has the gun. And think about this. Think how dangerous this type of stuff is, because the guy in the back is shooting the deer like up front with the guy in the spotlight. Not the smartest thing. But they did this. And I think if they shot one, what would happen is the deer would not go into the truck with the gun or the flashlight. It would go into a separate vehicle that had nothing in it. Think how elaborate that is. Think how the thought, like, okay, if we get caught, there's maybe plausible deniability that, well, what my gun. Now, I wonder if they would go into ballistics checks and start checking ballistics and all that good stuff. But, well, we don't have a flashlight or a spotlight in here. How are we doing it? Think about this. Like, this is crazy stuff. So anyway, those are a couple of stories that really when they've either they just show the extent that people are willing to break the law. And I don't get it. Back in my youth, there was a time when I was like, oh, that's just the way we do it, because that's the way my cousins did it. And I didn't know any better. Like I didn't know all that stuff, because as a little kid growing up, you're like, oh man, my cousins got to hunt, and wow, they killed those big deer, and you start to look back on it and you think about it, and you're like, well, they were scofflaws. Like they weren't doing it right at all, because you go through that hunter's ed, and all of a sudden now you see like, wait, they're wrong. And I think when I took hunter's ed when I was like 8, and that stuck with me. And I think when you put your kids in a hunter's education course or something like that, I think timing is really important. They need to kind of understand, they need to understand the right from wrong, but don't need too much exposure from the wrong side before they take it. And I think I just hit it just right because the hunter's education program really, like, it really made me think until I was in my teenage years, my rebellious years. And we're going to hit that story on the other side of this break.
You ever wish your hunting rifle had an optic so compact and tough it could probably survive a bar fight? Well, meet the EOTech Voodoo 3-9 by 32. At just 6.8 inches, this little beast is built from aircraft-grade aluminum because regular aluminum is for soda cans. It's fog-proof, waterproof, shockproof, basically life-proof. You get crisp second focal plane precision, cap turrets that won't get bumped out of zero, and an illuminated reticle with 10 brightness settings. And the best part? It's got an integrated base that plays nice with mini ACOG mounts. So yeah, it's short, it's sharp, and it's ready to make you feel like a marksman of legend. The Voodoo 3-9 by 32, because your rifle deserves better than good enough. The Ruger Precision Rimfire, or as the cool kids call it, the RPR. This beast has a heavy contour barrel, a Ruger Precision Rifle muzzle brake to tame recoil like a well-trained hunting dog, and an adjustable trigger that's smoother than your best pickup line at the bar. Need versatility? The multi-mag interface lets you run mags from AICS to Magpul style so you can stop hoarding magazines like a doomsday prepper. Plus, with a fully adjustable buttstock, this rifle fits you better than your favorite pair of hunting boots. Bottom line, if you want long-range accuracy, smooth operation, and durability built into one serious rifle, get yourself an RPR.
It's time to prepare for the shot of a lifetime. Whether you're a seasoned hunter or new to the sport, preparation is key. I preach it all the time. At Range Ready Studios, we offer the training you need to make that shot of a lifetime. Chris Serino is on staff, and he has a host of instructors on hand to provide personalized trainings in state-of-the-art facilities and practical exercises that build your confidence and skills. From precision marksmanship to quick target acquisition, we've got you covered. Don't leave your success to chance. Visit rangereadystudios.com to learn more. All right, we're back, Gun Talk Hunters. I appreciate you listening to those kind words from our sponsors. Well, it was kind of me talking about our sponsors, but they are very important in this program. All right, let's turn back the clock to teenage Kevin. KJ. Oh, either one works for me. Okay. This is a kid who had potentially like one of the best areas to hunt on one single piece of ground. And I had a cousin who was like, you know what? I've got an even better piece of ground. Well, I better go with him. So he takes me in his truck, and I'm like, oh man, this is the big time. He's going to take me to the creme de la creme, and it's cold, man. It's a frosty morning. Like, it's one of those mornings that you dream of, and I can remember it vividly. And we walk out along this mesquite thicket, and there's this blind, this shoot house. And we climb up there early morning hours, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is it. Like, I'm going to shoot a giant buck. Like, this is going to happen. Like, it's just that kind of area that you look at it, and knowing what I know now, looking back on it, it is prime. It is prime. And I'm sitting there, and man, the sun starts to crest. It's shooting hours, and I'm sitting there, and I'm going, now's the time. Come on, let's go. And all of a sudden, he leans over, and he goes, I'm cold. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. Like my adrenaline is rushing so fast right now because I know what's about to happen. I know there's going to be, at the time, crap, a 4-point would have been massive to me. He's going to step out right there because this is a great little green winter wheat field. I was like, it's perfect. And he says, I'm cold. The adrenaline is going so fast. I don't feel cold. I don't feel anything. He could have slapped me across the face, and I would have thought a fly landed on me. But he got in my mind. Okay? He got in my mind, and I was like, you know what? It is a little chilly out here. Like, I should have worn an extra layer. Yeah. But I mean, we can test it. We can, we'll tough it out. Then he leans over and says, I forgot my snacks in the truck. That is the killer. That was the nail in the coffin. And I really kind of feel like I had heard stories. I had kind of lived them like early, young years of, and I kind of vaguely remember them hunting and stuff, and and all their exploits back then. But like when you get older, you start hearing more and more stories, and you're like, is that really true? Like, are they really able to kill that many deer? You know, it kind of sticks in the back of your mind when you start hearing stuff like that. And like, I really kind of feel like he was like, yeah, we're gonna take this kid out. We're gonna, put him in a blind. He'll say he went hunting, and then I get to go do the kind of hunting I want. And I was along for the ride. So now it's into my mind that, well, there's snacks in the truck. It's kind of cold. There's heat in the truck. Okay. All right. Let's go. And I'm telling you what, like we were out of the blind within 30 minutes of that sun coming up, and I'm like, it was not right. Now it was rifle season, so there's a little short time that we have to hunt, and as a teenage kid, like your hunting is broken up by like weekends and stuff like that. So like they're fleeting moments of getting, you know, and getting moments to hunt. So he says, I just want to drive around a little bit. Okay, let's go look at deer. Like I ain't got no problem with that. I don't have a problem with like just drive. If you're just driving around, just looking at deer, going, oh yeah, man, that's a lot of deer over there. Like, and then you just go about your business. That's what I thought was happening, but it's not what happened, because we come up and we're driving down the road, and I know these country roads, and he's like, oh man, there's a giant in that field. And he was right. He was right. Like at the time, like I know I said a 4 point would have been looked huge, but kid you not, it was a true giant. Nice chocolate frosted horns from the morning dew, like beautiful deer sitting out in the middle of a winter wheat field, probably 100 yards from the road. And I'm shooting. You guys are gonna love this. This is how old school this is. I'm shooting a lever gun. I have a lever 30-30 that I'm like, yeah, this is good. Like, yeah, I'll take this. Iron sights and everything. So I was apparently confident in my skills back then, uh, because, cold, adrenaline, and all that stuff. Like, who knows if I would have hit anything. So he speeds up and gets around to a position of that he was like, you're going to shoot it. You're going to shoot it. And I was like, are you sure? Like, whose property? I was asking the right questions, but I wasn't doing the right thing. I was asking the questions. Whose property is this? Do you have permission? And his answers are, don't worry about it. We'll figure it out later. Are you like, that's what I went with. Well, he must be right. I guess we're going to figure this out later. I spring out of that truck because he's oh my gosh, he is in my ear going, shoot it, shoot it, shoot it. Come on, hurry, hurry. That should be your first indication to slow down. Just saying. That's probably the moment where you're like, I'm going to get back in the truck. I'm not going to raise my rifle. And anyway, so I go. My finger is on that trigger. It's on that trigger. It's following the deer. And man, I felt smooth. I felt like if I would have broke that shot, that was going to be a great shot and a bad shot. I get on the deer, going to press that trigger, and I press that trigger. Two things happen. Two things. And as I'm reflecting on it, I'm pissed at myself. But I feel blessed. The click of the gun goes off. Click. Oh, nothing's happening. Well, there was a hammer safety on it, where even if you would press that trigger, that hammer would fall. And in my fog of adrenaline and like, oh my gosh, is this really happening? Did not realize that that was happening. Because I remember taking the safety off. At least I thought I did. When in all actuality, what happened was, as I'm unloading that, coming out of the truck, and that gun has been in the truck with me, after the fact, I realized I was driving around with a loaded gun on fire, ready to fire. And I didn't know it. And to this day, both of those instances really piss me off. And they make me think about how lucky I was, because there are so many things that could have gone wrong. I could have pulled the gun out and it went off. I could have pressed that trigger and the gun went off. Either way, not good. But in the end, I was lucky because I stopped. I stopped right then. And oh my gosh, like, I am so thankful that gun didn't go off, because now I'm back and now I have time to reflect, because I'm like, oh no, something's wrong with the gun. I know I took care of it. What's happening? So mad at myself. Like I could still, like, I still see everything from that day, and it makes me mad, but it makes me happy. So that is the only time, thank goodness, that like I really like didn't know what was going on. I didn't know the circumstances, and it almost led to a poached deer. And I hope that deer lived a long, good life, all of like probably 4 days, because he's an idiot if he's standing out in the middle of a wheat field on a road in Oklahoma. I'm going to tell you that right now. Like, do not do that, deer. Like, that's bad news, because there are people out there that wouldn't think twice. So anyway, I say that all to say, like, I'm thankful for the road and the path that I'm on, and I started aligning myself, because that was the last time I ever hunted with that cousin. Last time, because it wasn't right. And I thank goodness I was brought up and I was raised to know, like, oh, you know what? If you associate with folks like that, that's the path you'll go down. You are the company you keep. All right. Okay. I'm going to check one more time. Make sure, like I'm going to give you guys the best version of this story I can. The best version I can. This was from Rodeo Time Podcast. Go follow them. You can find the story there, but I'm going to retell the story up until a point. And when I get to that point, I'm going to leave you with a cliffhanger. I'm sorry, but up until that point, you are going to want to hear it. And if they don't contact me, I promise you, I will tell the story, the end of the story, on the next podcast. I won't leave you hanging on that long. Just a week. All right. So this is from the real time. I say real time. The Rodeo Time. It's Rodeo Time Podcast. This is me scrolling through the Instagram stories going, wait, what is this? Okay, here's the story. I am 100% pretty much certain this has to take place in Texas. So there's a group of guys. They're going out hunting, and they drop their buddy Bob off to the hunting blind. And it's a ground blind. And they leave him. It's 4:30 in the morning, and they go on down the road, and they're getting their stuff together and everything else, and all of a sudden they hear 5 shots, bam, 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 and they all look at each other and they say, "That was Bob. What's Bob shooting at 4:30 in the morning?" So that's kind of an indicator of something's not right. We need to go check on Bob. Well, they were going to go down and check on Bob and make sure. They don't have to check on Bob, because Bob is doing his best Usain Bolt impression running down the road. He is like a lightning bolt coming down the road. He cannot get to them fast enough. He pulls up, out of breath, I mean gassed, and he goes, I just shot Bigfoot. Hold the phone. These guys are looking at him like, what? He goes, I just shot Bigfoot. He's back over there. And they're, their eyes kind of go, well, what we all would do, like, oh, okay, yeah, you shot Bigfoot. Seriously, why did you shoot 5 times? He goes, I shot Bigfoot. He goes, I was sitting there. You guys had just left. And he goes, you guys are over, you're away. And he goes, I sat there and like we all do, I pull out my cell phone and I'm starting to scroll through the Instagrams, and all of a sudden, Bigfoot grabs my phone. Okay. And he goes, I just shot 5 times through the blind. Okay. All right. Yeah. I mean, we're hearing what you're saying. Like, either like, do you want to go back over and look? And Bob's like, I'm not going back over there. Y'all take me to the lodge. And he goes, well, the guys are sitting there kind of talking, and, they're probably jostling him a little bit. I would assume so. And he go, hold on a second. He reached through the blind and took your phone. So you don't have your phone? He goes, no, Bigfoot took it. So I shot. All right. Well, how about this? Bob? We're going to wait. We're going to wait till the sun comes up, and then we'll go over. And Bob says, He goes, you take me back to that lodge. He says, you can wait for the Marine Corps. I'm still not going in those woods again. Oh, okay. All right. Let's take Bob back to the lodge. And they said, like, you could see he's visibly shaken. I mean, shaken. He is terrified. He does not want any part of that. So they take Bob back to the lodge. And then the sun's up. All right, fellas, let's go look. So they walk over, and as they approach the blind, I'm sure there was a sense of something happened here that's not right. And they go up to the blind, and they see 5 shots through the blind. And I'm going to leave it right there. And the rest of the story is just as crazy. It is I would have believed I would have shot Bigfoot 100% based on everything. I don't know the legalities of shooting Bigfoot. I think that's an interesting case. If I was approached by Bigfoot, if you shoot Bigfoot, is it poaching? Because there's no season. Is Bigfoot an invasive species? Because then the rules are kind of like hog hunting. Like, they're an invasive species. They need to be wiped out. Shoot them whenever. You don't have to have a license. You don't have to have a tag. So, if you shoot Bigfoot, do you need a license? All right. Next week, I promise I'm going to finish that story. Or I'm going to get someone from Rodeo Time Podcast on to finish it out, because it is ridiculous. Gun Talk hunters, you know the drill. Keep those muzzles pointed in a safe direction, and always be on the hunt.